I request the chief guest, Professor Abhijit Banerjee, to say a few words.
Thank you, Riyansh, and thank you to everyone who conspired to bring me here. I'm honored to be speaking at this occasion, at this hallowed occasion, this 11th Founders Day of a project that clearly has enormous ramifications, just for the children who are here, for their parents, but also for the world. I'm an economist. And in economics, I think there is a historical and perhaps excessive obsession with the idea that we need to track down how the sources of productivity, what makes people more productive, better at doing things. And because we are so different, the world is so different, you know, I'm one way, you know, my friends are all different, and our backgrounds are different, our skin colors are different, our accents are different, our you know, sense of, you know, the way our brains work are different, the way our eyes work are different, or the way our hands work are different. Some of us are good at schoolwork, others are wonderful at handwork of different kinds, and yet others are great at sports. And all of us, it's easy to start to, because we're so different, it's easy to start to attribute productivity to success, worldly success, to specific attributes. This group is better at that. This kind of people are better. This kind of people are more productive. And I think that's an obsession in the economics profession. It's always been. There's always been theories of what is it that, you know, makes us productive. And I think that, this obsession tends to blind us to just the different ways in which, therefore, because we assume that certain types of people are unable to do certain things, we make choices in the world. And when we make these choices in the world, those choices then make it harder for certain types of people to succeed. So we often create self-fulfilling prophecies. We often have a theory, we use the theory in the world, and therefore, as a result, we manage to create structures which then prevent some people from being successful. I say this, and I think this is very important, because I think if we started from the opposite premise, which is that every child can be successful, can do something meaningful for the world, it's our job to find out what it is that they're good at. I'll give you a couple of examples from my, you know, many years of research that sort of highlight that. For many years, I observed the fact that the children who are selling vegetables in markets in Kolkata, in Delhi, the two cities where I've lived, would give you go to them, you say, I want 200 grams of peas and 300 grams of carrots, and then you give them a 100 rupee note, and they give you the change back, all instantly. So no calculator, and most of the time, they either get it right, or they know the answer, but they're trying to see if you know what the answer is, so they give you a little bit less, and then you say, no, that's wrong, and they give you the right amount. So they know exactly what they're doing. These are often, 10, 11, 12-year-old boys and girls, mostly boys, I would say, in markets, and they do it effortlessly, unthinkingly, without any show off that they're doing something impressive. Of course, this is, we take it as given, and yet there's something remarkable about it. I'll tell you one other, from my other life, living in the US. One of the things I went to buy tomatoes in a supermarket, and tomatoes were $3 a pound. It's expensive for tomatoes, but yes, $3 a pound. And she weighed the tomatoes, and she found, 0.75 pounds, so 3/4 of a pound. And then she pressed a lot of buttons on her machine, and her machine said $4.50. And I said, it can't be. $4.50 cannot be. It's $3 a pound. Less than a pound cannot be more than $4 to pay for it. And she looked at Louis like, here's a crook. He's trying to trick me. And she looked at me, and I kept arguing and trying to explain the logic of it. She called her manager, and I tried to explain it to the manager. The manager looked at me with even more suspicion. But since I was insisting, he said, okay, and let me go. So I actually paid what I was saying I should pay, which I could calculate. But nobody in this whole system could do the mental mathematics of multiplying 3 by 0.75 and get $2.25. So this was so mental mathematics is a thing. It's something that, these kids do effortlessly. And I say two more things about these kids. So when we decided to compare them with other kids of the same age in Delhi schools. So we went to schools with plastic vegetables, and we created artificial markets there. In these artificial markets, we told them, okay, give me 200 grams of carrots and 300 grams of peas. And they were paralyzed. They just couldn't do it. They started writing things on pieces of paper. They were completely baffled by the whole thing, and almost no one could do it. So these kids who are in the market, who have, now, sadly, when we went back to those kids and asked them, okay, here is a math problem, can you do it? They said, if I could do this problem, I would be in school. So in other words, they could do any amount of mental math, but the school has convinced them that they can't do real mathematics. Why? Because the school teaches them a particular algorithm, a particular way of doing this calculation, and they never took the trouble to explain to these kids who are so gifted in using numbers, what's the intuition behind the algorithm. So in other words, by insisting on a particular way of doing mathematics, we actually discourage people who are effortlessly good calculators. And this is an example of how our own understanding of what education should be stands in the way of true education. I'll take another example, which is not from education, but it's from livelihoods. And we worked with a program that was invented by this NGO in Bangladesh called BRAC. It's called the Ultra Poor Program. And it selects in villages. We go to villages, you choose the people who the poor people in the village say, these people are really poor. And they were often typically women who had been abandoned by their husbands with children. Abandoned, or the husband had become an alcoholic, or the husband had died. There were women who were 30, who had 2 or 3 children, and who had been married at 14 or 15, who had no education, had never worked outside, so they lived by begging. So these were the women we selected for this. And clearly, because these women really didn't know almost the basic facts about the world. One of the things that I give you one example. This woman, they gave her something to start the program. The program involves giving these beneficiaries a small amount of assets. maybe one cow or several goats or maybe something to sell. So she had something to sell. She was going to take this and go from house to house to sell. Once she finished, she wanted to go back to the place where she bought those things, to the market and the wholesale market. So one day she calls the guy from the program, from this program, and says, I couldn't find the bus. The yellow bus never arrived. And the point was that she didn't know that buses had numbers, the color was irrelevant. So she was waiting for the yellow bus. The yellow bus never came, so she never went to the market. So finally she had to learn to read numbers. She had to learn the idea of reading numbers on buses. She did. Finally, I'll tell you something about her first. Even 7-8 years ago when I met her, she had one house. She had built one house by selling things, but she didn't get along with her daughter-in-law, so she's going to build another house and move out. That was where she was. This is the pattern we see for this. It was a randomized control trial, so many hundred of households got these assets. Other households didn't get the assets. When you compare these households now, 17 years later, they're 40% richer. They are 40%, so the control group has incomes which are 40% lower than that of this group. So it is really that once you give them an opportunity, even the people who everybody thinks these people are hopeless are not hopeless. They're looking for an opportunity. Give the opportunity, they'll take it and run. So my general point is that we should stop thinking of who's able and who's not able. We should start thinking of what can we do to find the ability that someone has. Everyone has something. We just need to find it. Let's find it. And congratulations to the school. Thank you.